Hello, everybody. Happy New Year almost. Christmas, late, Kwanzaa, Fruit Day. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Marissa. Okay, so, oh my god, sorry. Yeah, what would I do without Eddie? Bam. Thank you so much. So, welcome, Fanta crew. I think I met you over at OFG, maybe, or Ryan's. Either way, thank you so much for coming. And, it sounds like I'm on a Disney ride. I don't know how to... What are you talking about, Bia? Bobia? What are you talking about? I sound like a Disney character? Or what? Ryan's. Welcome. Thank you, Danielle. Hey, Newman. I think I met them over at Inky's. Awesome. So glad you're here. So, this is a little bit outside of my territory as far as like being familiar. I'm learning because I have a newfound interest in it, and I'm talking about the whole astrology thing and like birth charts and progression charts and transit charts and just all kinds of charts. Well, I've always had like a curiosity enough about it, to want to know, but I've never been able to take in the information and it actually click, the wording and the stuff is just it's very hard for me to understand, and the degrees and stuff, and it just very overwhelming to try to teach yourself for sure. And for whatever reason, something just kind of fell together with something I was kind of working on, and I didn't really know how to interpret it. So I originally asked Inky, because at that time I was like, oh, well, I guess if she reads tarot cards, it's all the same thing. And I now know that's not the case, but just kind of keeping you in the loop with where I was at that time. And she was like, I'm not going to lie, like, this is kind of more Danielle's territory than mine. Like, she would definitely know more about it than I did. And I was like, oh, you know what? Duh. I remember she did Johnny's birth chart a while back. I don't even know why I didn't think of that. So I was like, oh, thank you so much, Inky. And then I reached out to Danielle and was like, look, if I send you this stuff, will you like make it make sense for me? She's like, I can try. I was like, hey, that's all I need. So I get all the information that she needs and stuff, and Ashley had already had a birth chart like done for Alex. I think maybe Candace did it. I know Candace did one. I'm not sure if that's the one that she sent me or not. It might be, but So I gave all that information to Danielle, and then she broke it down like in in a way that really was, I can't really pinpoint it how she, it made sense to me in a way that really like sparked my curiosity and my interest in it even more. So I went out and bought this super big book, and I mean big book, probably the biggest book I've ever bought. No joke. Like beside, well, I didn't buy that, but I bought this one though, and it's like everything you need to know about astrology, and it's like everything you need to know. So I've been kind of taking it in waves and like trying to interpret it into specifically what what got my interest in it was pertaining to Alex's case. And um it just really blew my mind, the things that you can see in the chart based off of his birth chart, and then when you put into the factors of where he was at and where the sun was and all that stuff on the specific, you can like pinpoint it to a specific moment, like for example say 8:30 p.m. on April 20th of 2022 and the area, and then you put that in and it like it'll tell you, well I say it, but Danielle can tell you like all of these things and what it mean when this is in this house and this is in this house. And it's really fascinating, but also very sad because it's like it's in his chart, that in my opinion and Danielle's opinion, like it wasn't whatever happened wasn't supposed to happen like that. So it kind of comes off. I'm going to show you guys the chart or whatever, and then I have like a PDF of Danielle's interpretation of it, and then I did my own like research from the book and like kind of textbook definition and stuff. Like I got all kinds of stuff for you. And Ashley said it was okay to share it with you guys, so here we are. Um, the it was like he was going there to like to say either to clear up his debt or whatever. Regardless, he had plans to do better and different, and something went south. That could have been why it went south. Couple of interpretations that from the chart, just kind of giving you guys a over my overall before we get started, because the I think it was more or less the maybe they took it as in they, the people at the house, um won't name for reasons at the moment, I won't say, but they don't interpret, they don't perceive that well, and they kind of take that as, oh, you're a snitch, or you're, like kind of maybe that mentality, when that was the reaction to it. And that could have been what caused whatever happened to happen, because Alex was very prideful, like with being loyal, like just from the time he was young. That was stories that Ashley's told me of. He's not no snitch. And he would have been offended by that for sure, if just the accusation, and that could have caused a scuffle, or something happened. I mean, there's no doubting that. For I mean, no doubting that, but it's just, yeah, we will, Ashley. I'm thinking about that now, because now I'm trying to be conscientious, the trying to be careful of that. But Chuck, oh, let's see, I'll think of it. Hold on a second, I gotta queue up this PDF. Ashley, thank you. I won't. Okay, I'm gonna play these real quick.
Your love has nowhere to go. Because every time you cry because you miss them, it's because you love them. Every time you laugh because you're thinking of something they did, it's because you love them. Grief is still love in its highest form. And the fact that you feel grief only shows how deep that love for them really was.
Memories. A poem. Death leaves heartache that no one can heal. Memories are treasures that no one can steal. Some may forget you now that you are gone, but we will remember no matter how long. You will always stay loved and remembered in every way. No tears. No verse can ever say how much we miss you every day.
If I would've known that you wouldn't be here anymore, I would've made the moments last a little longer.
What more do you need for probable cause, Sheriff March?
Sheriff March went to the last known location and spoke with primary resident Deetwood Anderson. Anderson confirmed that Alex had in fact been at his residence on Wednesday evening and that he spoke with him. Anderson's statements include 1. Anderson's statement to Sheriff Willie March during wellness check April 22, 2022. Anderson stated that he and Alex made small talk on the front porch for a few minutes, and he went inside to get a t-shirt to put on. When he returned to the porch, Alex was gone. Anderson then stated that he did not see where he went or who he might have left with. 2. Anderson's statement to RWE during follow-up visit for 20 to 2022. Later that same day, Robert W. Easterling also went to the same location to speak with Anderson. He again confirmed that Alex had been there and he had spoken to him. He then stated to RWE that Alex asked for some phone numbers because he had just gotten a new phone that day. Anderson told RWE that he went inside to get his phone, but when he returned, Alex was gone.
9:45 a.m. Anderson was working in a large tilled-up section of his yard. We were initially refused access to search, but finally allowed after Anderson made personal calls from the deputy's cell phone. We were informed that he called Sheriff Willie March and his mother Delores Anderson. Sent canines immediately hit on Alex's scent. They indicated at the front gate, front porch, and around towards the back of the property.
of life. From the directness of Aries to the receptiveness of Pisces, the zodiac signs show the qualities that come through our life. The last component, the planets, represent the experiences in our life. These transient bodies in the sky mirror our transient experiences here on Earth. As they always do, these experiences further shape our personality. What house a planet is in shows us in which area these experiences of life occur. What sign, which characteristics these experiences
Okay, so that's the basics, the stuff that I'm like unfamiliar with, the terminology, but um, let's get started with Alex's. I'm gonna put up his birth chart first. Okay. Okay, so uh, Alex, he was born in Fairhope, Alabama on March the 22nd of 1992 at 12:21 p.m. Okay, so this, okay, so here's the little symbols down here, and the planets and the signs, and then here's the breakdown. Okay, 1 second. So it says rising sign is in 19 degrees Cancer. Very sensitive by nature. You prefer to be in your own familiar surroundings. Cautious and conservative. You make changes in your life only very slowly, if at all. You do not open up easily to strangers. Friendships are made for life. However, once given, your trust is forever. Your mother, your home as a child, and your early family life in general are very important to you. You are also very sentimental. When you feel self confident, you are gentle, giving, and protective of the needs of others. But when you feel insecure or threatened, you become overly sensitive to criticism, shy, withdrawn, and moody. You have a strong need for security in the sense that you are being loved, nourished, and protected. Okay, Sun in is in 2 degrees Aries. By nature, you are very energetic and high spirited. You are fiercely independent. You must be first in everything you do, and you enjoy taking risks. You are the one who will rush in where angels fear to tread. Quite brilliant at initiating new projects. You are terrible at following them through to completion. You are an enthusiastic leader, but you tend to be a reluctant follower. Often you are quick to anger, but you usually recover just as fast, regretting later things you said when you were upset. One of your best traits is that you are simple and direct, blunt and honest. Just be careful you do not hurt others' feelings. You need to be competitive at all costs, may provoke resistance from others, but as long as you maintain your usual sunny good humor, this should not prove to be a major problem for you. Okay, moon in 24 degrees Scorpio. Your feelings are very intense, never superficial. You tend to be either very angry or very sad or completely and totally happy. Your moods are deep, extreme, and not always completely understood by yourself or by those with whom you have to deal. Emotionally, you tend to prefer to live at the see. Okay, emotionally, you tend to prefer to live at the cutting edge of life, pushing your reactions to the ultimate extremes, even if the results are dangerous or upsetting. You are easily jealous and very suspicious. You require a great deal of emotional reassurance. A good detective, you are very curious about deep and mysterious things, especially human nature and motivations. Be careful not to be ruthless, tactless, or too overly frank, or with you will meet with much resistance from others. Mercury in 9 degrees Aries. Okay. Okay, here we go. Very quick-witted. You are known for being an independent thinker. You love to debate and argue, and are excellent at repertory and battles of wits. At times, however, you act too fast on hastily formed opinions and thus waste a lot of energy defending your rash, sometimes incorrect conclusions. It is perfectly acceptable for you to defend your beliefs with your usual vigor, but try not to take the opinions of others as personal insults. Venus is in 10 degrees Pisces. You have a dreamy, fanciful, romantic nature and very creative imagination. Indeed, at times your private fantasies are more appealing than the reality around you, and it is difficult for you to leave them. You tend to be unselfish and giving in relationships and are extremely sensitive of the needs of others. Be very sure that your help is worthy of your devotion and you are not merely taking advantage of your innocence and being naive. I don't know how to say that word. Naivete sounds right. Mars is in 25 degrees Aquarius. Says your ideas are usually inventive and original, but sometimes they are merely eccentric and offbeat. You are altruistic. You will work hard for the attainment of group goals as long as they meet your high standards. You tend to resent traditional authority figures because you think that your ideas are better thought out and more valuable than theirs. Very idealistic, you are a rebel with a cause. Jupiter is in 6 degrees Virgo. You feel most expansive and at ease with yourself, and you are when you are doing something that you consider to be practical or useful. You enjoy being dutiful and carrying out responsibilities. You gladly take on the little tasks that others seem to want to avoid. At times, you carry things to extremes and feel guilty anytime you do something that you consider to be self indulgent. While it is appropriate for you to demand little for yourself in life, try to loosen up once in a while. Go out on a fling and enjoy yourself. Saturn is in 15 degrees Aquarius. Your personal sense of values is a reflection of the value structures of your peer group of those you respect and admire. Try to be more critical in your acceptance of these values. You tend to prejudge the abilities of those you trust and then follow what they say blindly. Basically, very conservative. You prefer orderly, systematic changes and fear doing things rashly or impulsively. Ideas and philosophies must have some sort of immediately realizable utilitarian function in order for you to pay any attention to them. Uranus is in 17 degrees Capricorn. You and your peer group as well seek out practical solutions to a changing society's attitudes to customs, traditions, and authority structures. Your logical and orderly manner of dealing with these matters will result in permanent and carefully planned but sweeping reforms. Neptune is in 18 degrees Capricorn. You and your entire generation will idealize work, practicality, and the ability to attain reasonable goals. But because you will also stress the need to be selfless and giving, you may find it difficult to obtain your goals unless you have lowered your expectations on all fronts. Pluto is in 22 degrees Scorpio. For your entire generation, this is a period of intense research and discovery in areas that are heretofore considered mysterious or taboo. The root cause of many complex occurrences will be unearthed due to the intensity and thoroughness of the search. Then it says the North Node is in 5 degrees Capricorn. You rarely get involved closely with anyone unless he or she has something specific and practical to offer you. You tend to be all business when it comes to dealing with others. You're usually so intently focused on a particular goal that you rarely have time for social niceties or necessities, social necessities, or casual fellowship. But you can definitely be counted on by others to get things done. When you say that you'll do something, you do it. As such, you're a valuable member of any team situation and will probably rise to a position of leadership within the group. Your trustworthiness and sense of responsibility are unquestioned, but try to avoid the temptation to use others to reach your goals. They might come to resent you. Okay, that's the end of that one. So if y'all want to look at the chart again for a minute. So this is just his birth chart, this one. Hold on a second, let me. Ashley says describes him to a T. And if you guys haven't already, if you go listen to the podcast that Jason did, a sip of justice called Down in Mississippi, especially episode 1 and 2, but mainly 1, he really, really does a very, very amazing job at talking about Alex and who he was and how he grew up and his family dynamic, and he just really does a good job making, turning Alex into a real person and giving you a a connection into, like, okay, this is what he was like. Really good job at it. Phenomenal job. So I would, if you haven't already, I would definitely recommend going and listen to that. They're about 20 minutes a piece, the episodes. I think there's only 3 out right now. And but if you want to get a deeper feel into who Alex is and who the Easterlings are, and I would highly recommend you go listen to the first 2 episodes for sure. Okay, so I'm going to close this one for a sec. Well, not for a sec. Okay. So this is his progression chart. Zoom down. Now, I'm not going to act like I know what any of this stuff means because I'm definitely not there with it. But I took my book and literally, like, textbook. Killing me small. Ruben, I'll call you back in just a little bit. Okay. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I took the my book that I got, and I just literally, like, wrote down the definitions and, like, what they mean, like, when they're, because they mean different things, like, if they're in the, the different parts of the circle, so to say, and, like, and it all, like, it literally, it could, if it's a 1 degree difference, the definition and the meaning of it is a completely different. So it's a lot of information from this little bitty circle, and it's, let's just look at my thingy majigger mabobber, my PDF. Here, my dog is gonna get uppercutted. Just kidding. Just kidding. He's barking at me because he thinks I'm talking to somebody. Or maybe he thinks I'm talking to myself and he's trying to cry for help. Who knows? Okay. Transit chart. Here we go. So this is Danielle's breakdown of, I sent her Alex's birth chart that Ashley sent me, the one we just went over, and then she did her own progression or transit chart, and then she broke it down for me, and then I just took it and copied and pasted it into a PDF so that I could share it with you guys. So, thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you so much. Okay. Transit, Sun in the 10th house. This transit shifts your focus to your career and goals. You will behave more responsibly and start thinking about what you want to achieve, especially in your professional life. It is likely that you will ask for a raise at work, seek better career opportunities, or start thinking about starting your own business. During this transit, your career comes first, and you will want to do well at work. You may be more in touch with your boss or discover a new mentor. You will also have more interactions with older people. You may even get involved with the government. This practical approach to life can help you advance your career. Must be careful and wise because this transit could punish you. Be careful about your reputation and avoid all activities that could damage it. Transit Moon in the 6th house. This transit emphasizes the importance of work, health, and habits. You will be systematic and organized when you are doing your everyday activities. It is in Sorry, hold on. No problem at all, Ashley. I cried when I did this. He wanted to make you and his daughter so proud of him, and he didn't get the chance. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. It's gonna make me cry. Yes, you'll see why she's saying that. Um, I'm just kind of getting chills just thinking about it because I just, all right, straight face, back to it. Damn you, Danielle. Got my eyes watering and stuff. Onions. Okay. Okay. It is an ideal time for big cleaning and organizing your wardrobe and documents. You will also be more emotional about work-related issues. You may be more moody than usual, take your business matters too personally, or on the other hand, you may put aside your emotions and concentrate too much on your work. You can also overreact to criticism from your supervisor or colleagues, whether the criticism is constructive or not. Be aware of the tendency to become too stressed by work issues. It can exhaust you emotionally. There is also a higher risk of stress affecting your health, mainly in the form of pain in different parts of the body. Try to make your work as comfortable as possible and focus on beneficial routine activities such as meditation or yoga. Transit Mercury in the 11th house. This transit will turn your attention inward to your thoughts. You will be especially interested in your personal goals, expectations, and aspirations. Um, I would say yes. Bia, or I'm just going to call you Bia because I can. She put in the date for his birthday and time, and then to the 20th of April of 2022 at 8:30. So this would be like um his like I yeah, okay. I didn't want to say that and be wrong, but Danielle, it what he was going through that very moment, at 8:30 p.m. on the 20th of April of 2022, according to his chart. And it's okay. Let me just keep going because assu- yeah, assumed yeah, TOD. Allegedly. Okay, his assumed time of death. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tiptoe around it and just. Anyway, the transit will turn your attention inwards to your thoughts. You will be especially interested in your personal goals, expectations, and aspirations. You will think about which things and attitudes do not deserve you in the long term, and you will try to replace them with new ideals, and values. It's a good time to communicate with your close friends and people you trust. During this transit, you will not only be a good storyteller, but also a good listener. You will find it easy to understand the way others think, and based on this understanding, you will be able to give good advice. Conversations will now give you a sense of fulfillment. This transit is especially beneficial for inventors, innovators, and people who work with technologies. Transit Venus in the ninth house. This transit, great for adventures and foreign countries, but also in places where you have never been before. You may be surprised at the beauty of places that are near you, but which you have never had time to see. You will have a great time if you go on a holiday now. You will be attracted by independent and entertaining people with whom you can share a lot of unusual experiences. These situations will make you think about how you live your life, and they will show you new viewpoints that you may want to share with others. You may become more interested in other cultures, or you may fall in love with a foreigner. You may also meet a teacher, a philosopher, a pilot, a linguist, or an adventurer whom you fall in love with. Transit Mars in the eighth house. The transit will awaken the urge to change in you. If there is something in your life that you are not satisfied with in the long term, you will feel motivated to fundamentally change it. You will do this with the feeling of urgency. At work and in your personal life, you will want everything right away, and you will tend to be impatient. Be humble and make sure that your ego does not hinder your blooming relationships. If you make Hold on. I believe that his transit Venus is more metaphorical for the things he was imagining that he wanted to do with his life, things he had never done before, leaving his old lifestyle behind, etc. I agree. So you will be humble and make sure that your ego does not hinder your blooming relationships. Oh, Ashley says, we talked about these changes on our ride up to Pickens. Eyeballs leaking. Damn onions. Talked about work in Cali. Hate onions. Such weird. Okay. Hi, Raven. Don't mind me. Just someone cutting an onion in here. Something's got my eyes blinking. I have a cousin. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to yawn. I have a cousin that they're there that is part of Bradley's house. What's Bradley's house? Oh, huh. That's cool. Hmm. Danielle says, or Ashley says, long-term recovery house. Danielle says, oh man, that gives me the chills because I saw it in this chart. Okay. Be humble and make sure that your ego does not hinder your blooming relationships. If you make a living by trading, your business will flourish. Transit for Jupiter in the ninth house. You will approach everything with optimism and an open mind. You will avoid dealing with unimportant issues and inconveniences. You will have a unique opportunity to travel, study, and meet people from different backgrounds. You will be very curious and open to learning new things. If you have a business, contact with foreigners, expansion, advertising, and promotional activities will bring success. This transit is also beneficial for teachers and writers. A guru, a person, and a teacher who will be important to you may also enter your life. Did Alex want to break away from them? Alex mentioned he was done with them and they didn't like it. That's yeah, that's what I think. That is wholeheartedly what I think. I've said that to Ashley several times because of the way that she describes his urgency. And I'm going to pause for a second and we'll come back to this. But his urgency, like he had unfinished business, wasn't like he was. And I could be wrong. By the way, I'm interpreting this because I obviously wasn't there, So this is just my opinion. Like he had unfinished business, and he had to settle something, to make something right. Because if you've heard the stories about Alex, that Ashley and Mr. Easterling and Ashley's sister, they all are very, very similar in the way that they say that Alex was very, very loyal to his friends and the people he cared about. And he wasn't the type to, to get, if he had a debt or something, he would want to make it right there. If he wanted to get a clean start, he would want to settle any debts or wages or bad blood. That's just the type of person that he was. And another point that I think is important is Alex was not a dumb young man. He knew better than to have his mom take him to a place like that. He knew she would bring his booty when she became aware of it. And the fact that he did, my gut tells me that's because he deep down at least had the suspicion or the idea that something could have or might go south. and he at least wanted his mom to know where he was so that she would do exactly what she's done and come looking for him like a bulldog, because he could have easily just said, "Hey, I'm going to get picked up from here," and when they stopped at the gas station to get cigarettes, and he could have just walked from there, or or got dropped off at the end of the road, or just went home and had somebody else take him later. Like, I feel like he had a reason that he wanted Ashley to drop him off there, because he knows how she is, and he told her the name of the person who was there, and not what he's known by locally, his government name. I feel like there's a reasoning for that. Like, he wouldn't have done that if he would not have armed his mom with, "Here, this is where my dealer lives, this is his name," and all that, if he was going to get a fix. That's just crazy. He knows that that would have not ended well, when she put the pieces together and figured out that's what happened. I feel like he had to be a man and face whatever it was that he had to deal with, but I don't think he went there. I'm not saying that it didn't shift to that and that he didn't end up getting high, but I don't think that's why he went there. I also don't believe that because of the constant communication back and forth. I mean, there was several dozen text messages exchanged between Alex and Chucky between the time he got the phone and before he got there. Oh, if you were just coming by to get a fix, that's something you say in one or two messages. "Hey, can I come by?" "Yeah." "Okay, I'll let you know when I'm on my way." All right. There was way more conversation happening there. So what were they talking about? And Chucky knew he was coming. Okay, sorry, I got to find another name. Sorry. At Raggedy Ann, Annabelle has to sorry. So, and then I'm sticking with that one. That's Raggedy Ann. so so I think another thing that is important to note is that from the time Ashley dropped him off until the time you see him walking towards the gate, there's only 12 minutes. So whatever the conversation was, whatever it consisted of, it only lasted 12 minutes. And if you pay attention to Alex's body language when you see him come into view of the camera, he doesn't look happy. Like, he's got, the way his shoulders are slouched and he's looking down and like almost like he's borderline pissed, like, so I feel like whatever he went there for, it didn't go the way he wanted it to, or what, like, he just didn't seem like he had pep in his step and, "Oh, that just went well and I just gotta fix it, I'm gonna go blah blah blah." Like, there was just a vibe, in my opinion, in the way that he was walking, that said he was not pleased with whatever they conversated about, or however the conversation went. Um yeah, that's it. Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy. Why not, Bia? The Raggedy Ann and the freckles, I like it. Or rather rather ratchety. The trench bull. Knee slapper. So Ratchet Andy is, well, we gotta have two. Ratchet Andy. Ruben, I'll call you back after this stream. I swear. Okay. Hold on. When I just typed to Ruben, I'll call you when I'm off my live stream. It corrected it to when I'm off my love seat. Fucking Siri. Awkward. Okay. Anyways. I agree, Raven. Okay, so this is the transit in Saturn in the 8th house. This transit is one of the most difficult and has the potential to change your life forever. This transformation may be annoying and will go deep into your personality, but the outcome is essential for your personal development. You will be faced with the fears that you have on a conscious or subconscious level. These fears will force you to evaluate which things you need in your life and which not. You may also become more aware of the fact that we do not live forever, and with that knowledge, change some of your attitudes. If you have an addiction, listen, y'all. Oh my God, giving me chills. Okay, if you have an addiction, it will resurface, and you will have to cope with it. Your sexual relationship with your partner and intimacy will also be affected by this transit. Rarely, sexual dysfunction, difficulty satisfying your libido, and other problems in the area of intimacy may also occur. Your obsessions, impulsive need to control and power, or attachment to material things, especially money, may also appear during this transit. There may be frustration and dissatisfaction when you are unable to get what you want. If you manage this transit well, at the end of it, you will be more emotionally balanced and strong. Transit occurs in the natal house, which is ruled by this transit planet. Transit Uranus in the 11th house will bring unconventional and original people to your life. The circle of people you meet may change, and it will be easy for you to make new friends. You will be attracted to bohemian people. You will be able to see people for who they really are, and you will not be judgmental. The question is whether your friendship with these people will last for a long time or will end as soon as the transit is over. This house also affects your dreams and aspirations, and now will be more idealistic than usual. Catfish, no, he did not have a girlfriend, not that I know of. Just wait, Bia, just wait. Transit Neptune in the 9th house. You will have the desire to expand your spirituality. You may be interested in spiritual teachings and metaphysics. You may experience a burst of creativity, which will be especially beneficial for you if you make a living by writing. If you are still studying, you will have difficulty concentrating for long periods of time and you will find it hard to study. You will long to be near water sources. Confusion and misunderstandings associated with travel, legal matters, or university education may occur. Transit occurs in the natal house, which is ruled by the transit planet, Pluto in the seventh house. This transit changes the dynamics in your relationships. This change will mainly concern conflicts of power and control. You may become aware of people working against your interest, and relationship problems may arise. You will tend to attract people who have malicious intentions with you or will tend to control you. You need to be aware of this and work on your relationships so that they are healthy and beneficial to you. If you manage to pass this transit successfully, you will be able to build strong relationships based on respect. This transit will have a greater impact if you have anything transitioning or anything transiting planet in the seventh house or have difficult aspects of Saturn or Uranus. Okay. I personally believe the stuff above, the frustration with the relationship, can also reflect some type of inadequacy he felt for how he was doing as a father, since a child is the result of intimacy. And that might even be deeper than that, because not to get too deep into it, but he felt a lot of responsibility for making sure BM, child's mother, is okay and safe, and um, that could have been something else weighing on him. I don't know that it was, but I just know he would, knowing the way that Ashley described him, I don't see him, not being worried, just in being stressed on that aspect and kind of feeling like he has to make sure she's okay and take on her, and kind of before he would himself. Not saying he was in that mindset at that time, but he had been, in previous situations. And um, he was very protective and loyal to a fault of people that he thought had his back. He would all the way 110% have theirs, and 9 times out of 10 with the kind of friends that he had, it probably wasn't reciprocated, because I don't think DH, um, householder, I don't think he was a good friend at all. I mean, as far, let's just eliminate his possible involvement or him being there, just after the fact. Like, he's done, no way you could say that that was your friend and you would just, I don't care, douchebag. But drugs change people. So I don't doubt that Dalton would probably be a completely different person if drugs weren't involved, but that's not the case, and drugs are involved. And right now, where we stand at this moment in time, he's a piece of shit. So, sorry, not sorry. But that shit that he's peddling is why It's the devil. It is really terrible. I mean, all drugs are bad, but that one specifically, it's so addictive. And it gets you in a sense of it's not even about getting high. It's about not being sick. And that is a whole different ballgame when you put that into perspective that, who wants to be sick? And I mean sick. I'm not joking, you guys. I'm sick, like throwing up and blood, and I mean just body tremors and the cold chills and the sweats and just miserable. And the only thing that will make it go away is getting high. And a lot of addicts that are addicted to heroin, that is what it becomes, is just staying normal, not just enough to not be sick. And people like Ratchety Andy prey on that and treat them like they're little, yard dogs. Like, oh, here, I dangle this in front of you and go do this and go do that, and then before you know it, there goes 10 years of somebody's life. It's very, very sad. Yeah, that is true. What Danielle said, especially if you're not aware that it was in there. Um, it only takes one time, and it doesn't take very much at all. If there was any kind of fentanyl involved, it that's a whole different factor. And there's no way to know as a user, you're not, I mean, I'm sure there is, but let's just be realistic here. You're not carrying around like a drug test and testing what's in it before you use it. I mean, if you were going to do that, I don't think you would be doing it in the first place. But it's a matter of at this point, if even Raggedy Andy knows that it's in it. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past him. I know that if he had some that was, uh, whatever you call it, spiked, I don't think he would do the right thing and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna get my money out of this. I'll flush it down the toilet and get something else." No, I doubt it would change anything for him. Just don't. I hate to say this, but don't die here is his mentality, and another day, another time. Oh, I didn't know that, Danny. That's good to know. That's interesting. I never knew that. Danny says they do have test strips and they're very cheap. People really should test their product. Um, I had no idea that was even a thing. That is really cool. I mean, it's in a fucked up way, but um, yeah, interesting. Learn something new every day. And that also would mean, Eddie, that within the 12 minutes from the time Ashley dropped him off until starts walking towards the gate, there's only 12 minutes. So he would have had to have did it right there on the porch. Like, not to get into details, but he's not like he had paraphernalia or anything with him. So how did he do it? And according to the phone data, it doesn't even look like he went in the house. If he did, it was like right there, kind of in maybe a step inside the door. And I don't necessarily think he went any further than right there on the porch. In 12 minutes is, that's nothing to. He would have definitely still been feeling the effect, and I don't think he would have been walking like that. And his body language said that he was, in my opinion, he was pissed or blowed, let down, or just not, oh yes, I just gotta, floating on cloud nine. Not trying to sound like I'm in, drugs are bad, okay? I'm just trying to put in perspective of I don't really have a lot of experience with heroin or heroin addicts. I mean, I know I've been around a couple like in passing, but I've never really been exposed to that side of it. But I know enough to know that it's way worse than anything I've ever been exposed to. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy because it's terrible and it's hardest thing to get away from. And everybody that I do know that has had any kind of experience with it says the same thing, that it started out with pain pills, and then when they couldn't get pain pills anymore, then they resorted to heroin because it was more readily available and cheaper. And most of them aren't here anymore, if I'm being honest. It's a very I don't think he was either, in my opinion, just because of the research that I've done. Um, and when I've seen some pictures and videos of the stuff that he had in his house, and that wasn't the remnants of not to be derogatory, but of a needle junkie. You would see, like, for example, um, Dalton's truck, allegedly. There's a big difference between the two. And, there's just certain things that you do in the comfort of your own home that are undeniable as far as the way that you use. And I didn't see not a single orange cap, no spoons out of place. It didn't look like somebody that was using intravenously was residing there. Right. And the stuff that was there looked like you know absolutely like little straws for snorting and smoking. I'm not really familiar with how the process. Right. Well, that's also probably after it was ransacked, considering there was already somebody else moving in on top of it. Right, and that means he wasn't like snorting whatever he got right there on the front porch, or smoking and it, for crying out loud. I mean, he wouldn't have even had anything. He would have had to get to his house to get the paraphernalia. I mean, unless Chucky provides that too. Like, it just sounds a little far fetched. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying in my opinion, I don't believe that. Yeah. So, and something that's always stuck in my mind about that, Ashley, is the way that Sheriff March referred to that place as a crime scene. And that was very odd to me because, that would have to imply that a crime took place there. And if that was the case, why wasn't treated like one? Why was Ratchety Andy allowed to go? And why was it not taped off? And why would you say that it was a crime scene if Alex hadn't even made it there yet? He never made it back there, according to. Yeah, that's another thing. Okay, keeping into perspective about him being arrested, and how when he was getting arrested back in February, he was actively texting Householder. And I mean, you can make an assumption, or what you interpret it, that they could have been conversating about, but literally, like, the minute they're getting pulled over, he's texting Dalton. So, in my opinion, I think he was texting him we're getting pulled over. I'm probably gonna go to jail. This is where the truck's at. Um, sorry, Ashley, but whatever is Alex got picked up by Christina and them by at Chucky's house. I think because of the way that the officer agrees with Ashley on the phone when she calls it the arresting officer, and she says, Alex wouldn't be around them kind of girls, that just that had to have been business. And the cop agrees and says, yes. Okay. So I think that Alex had something weight wise that belonged to Chucky, if you get what I'm saying. Dang it. um Raggedy Andy. And I think that he was supposed to mm, I don't want to get into that because I don't know, like, if it, if he was just gonna he was supposed to bring back some money. Okay, I'll just say that. And hadn't got a chance to do that because they got pulled over, which is really suspicious about the way that whole went down anyway. Not to be that person, but I mean, it's literally right in front of the hooker and grandpa's house. They don't really search the truck because, like I said, the Alex is still his phone and his bag was still on the back, so that it's pretty safe to say they patted them down and whatever they had on their person and whatever was in the truck, just they didn't even look. Okay, they didn't impound the truck. They just let the truck stay in the yard right there because it was in right in front of the hooker and grandpa's house, and it stayed there for a hot minute, if not the whole time they were in jail, because two of them got out before Hooker and Alex did. And I believe one of the other hookers, her mom came and got the truck, and I think supposedly threw everything away except for Alex's phone. Okay, but if my suspicion is correct and he texted Dalton and said, hey, blah blah blah, this is where I'm at, and say he had something that belonged to Andy somewhere in like the whatever, anywhere in the truck, because at this point they could have been in plain sight. I don't think the cops looked. I really don't. So Alex goes to jail for an outstanding warrant in Hinds County, and the rest of the three females go to jail for whatever drugs they had in their pocket or bra, wherever they had it. And all different drugs, like a little bit of heroin here, a little bit of meth here. Some of them have pills, a drug that we can't identify, and apparently they don't weigh, which is absolutely asinine. How do you have no wonder why there's no convictions, because there's no way you could go and convict somebody when you don't even weigh the drug. What? Oh, just a drug? Like, there's the weight. It could go from trafficking to simple possession to, just it. It's super sketch. Okay, so Hooker and Alex get out the same day. Okay. First place she goes, which she gets out, personal use. Yeah, well, that's a pretty broad statement, because some would define personal use different. An addict is going to say this is personal use, and to someone that's never used before, it's going to be like, holy crap, that's there's perspective. Yeah. So right after this arrest. Huh, that's interesting that you say that. Dalton gets arrested after this, and oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay. Dalton gets arrested with all kinds of different drugs and different baggies, and looks like it's pre-weighed, to a firearm, maybe two firearms. Regardless, one is enough at this point. And rumor buzz around locally 2 weeks before Alex disappeared. Yeah, so this was he says, oh, they didn't get all of it. Supposedly that's what's rumored that, Dalton was bragging about after he gets out, because he was out like almost immediately and on bond or whatever. I don't know how that works. But he was bragging about, oh, they didn't get all of it. Like they didn't get all the dope. One pew pew and two clips. Okay. And he, in my opinion, had whatever he went and got from the truck that may or may not, you're following my drift. And I think he went and got whatever that was and was like, hey, instead of doing the right thing and going back to Andy and saying, hey, this is what happened, he's just going to say nothing and let him figure it out when he gets out of jail and deal with it then. And oh man, this is a freaking free come up for me. Not only do I get to get high for free, I can make some money. And I think that was what he was doing when he got arrested. And I think him saying, oh, they got it, but they didn't get all of it, implies that he probably had the rest of it stashed somewhere. And I think when he got out, being Alex, it would make sense that he goes there and goes to Chucky's and wants to, of course, say face, hey, this is what happened. It didn't get booked in with me. Like, I called Dalton to come get it. And maybe Dalton had already been in Chucky's ear, Andy's ear. Sorry, y'all. And already had him feeling some type of way or thinking something, or, thinking he's the police, or, just anything to keep the heat off of him. And that could have been what the friction was about. Or he could have just simply not said anything to Chucky and just came there and be like, hey, I need Dalton's number, and was going to, hey, I need to get my stuff. Like, and instead of dealing with it and having to, be like, hey man, I screwed you over big time. Dalton was a weasel and let Alex take the blame for something he did. This is just theories that I've weighed on, because the way that Dalton squirms at the mere eye contact with any one of Ashley or her dad is more than just, it's like, it's a different kind of guilt. Like, the way they describe it is like he's pale and he's like physically sick. Like it's eating him alive. And I hope it is. And if you're listening, I hope it is eating you up, you some of my beep. Because you were supposed to be his friend. And if the roles were reversed, he would not have done that to you. And he would not let your mom be out here wondering where you are. And you know that. And the fact that you are okay with just not saying anything, God have mercy on your soul. Because I'm pretty sure the heroin has swallowed what existed of it. Because you are a heartless monster. Your own fear of your own, I don't care what your excuse is. The only reason you're not talking is because if the truth comes out, worst case scenario, you're not going to have anybody to go get your fix from. And that is what motivates you to stay quiet, not your fear of your safety. Come on, man. I've seen Andy. Get out of here. I'll leave my comments with that right there, because that's laughable. Even for your little scrawny ass. Come on. Okay, so this is PDF of my notes of. Yes, I agree, Raven, for sure. This is both charts within, I wouldn't say combined, but I don't know how you would word it. I guess it is combined then. Anyways. These are like the definitions and how I wrote them straight from the book that I got to here. So, Sun in Aries, energetic, high-spirited, independent with a natural initiator, quick to anger but recovers fast, enjoys competition and needs to be cautious not to hurt others' feelings. Moon to Scorpio, or Moon in Scorpio, I'm sorry. Intense and deep emotions, not always understood by others, curious about mysteries and human nature, requires emotional reassurance but caution against jealousy and suspicion. Mercury in Aries, quick-witted and independent thinker, enjoys debating but may act too fast on opinions, needs to avoid taking others' opinions as personal insults. Venus in Pisces, dreamy, romantic, and creative nature, sensitive to others, needs, unselfish in relationships, caution against being taken advantage of due to innocence. Mars in Aquarius, inventive and original ideas, sometimes eccentric, altruistic with a strong sense of idealism, resents traditional authority figures, and is a rebel with a cause. Jupiter in Virgo, feels expansive when doing practical or useful things, takes on responsibilities willingly, but may carry things to extremes. Encouraged to loosen up and enjoy life occasionally. Okay, so I think I have that. One second. Close that. Close that. Okay. Okay, I already did that. Okay, these are some notes from Danny. She's asked if he had business dealings with the people in that house. For some reason, my intuitive feeling after reading his chart is that he intended to go there and tell them that he didn't want to be involved with that anymore, that he was clean and it felt good and he was done. He may have expressed or at least been thinking about different things he wanted to do with his future. However, I think once he got in that situation, he wasn't as strong as he thought he was. Or maybe they accused him of working for the cops or snitching. Maybe an altercation happened. Perhaps they persuaded him to get high with them to prove that he wasn't there to set them up. And with his Mars and Saturn in the 8th house, that ended up being the last time he'd ever get high, unfortunately. His soul was at a moment that was prime for transformation, especially through any weakness such as addiction. And she says that's so crazy because he was born with Saturn and Mars both in that 8th house, and both came around back around and were in the 8th house at the same time when he died. Saturn only returns to the birth position once every 30 years, and then for Mars to be in the same house at that same time again too is extremely rare, I would think. Okay, Ashley, enjoy your dinner. Thank you for coming.